Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to In the Buff. I'm Zach, and this is Rod, and we've got a lot to cover tonight. We basically had 3 episodes of Survivor in the past 2 weeks, 3 boots, so we've got a ton to talk about. And we want to get right into it, I think. And I think I want to start off with a little bit of a trivia review, because I noticed last night after Adam won immunity, we've had 5 individual immunity challenges, and we've had 5 different individual immunity winners. And this only happened 2 other times.
And so we have no runaway Aussie, for example.
Yet. Correct. But this is, like I said, this has only happened 2 other times. One time was last season. We had, 5 different immunity winners, the first 5 individual immunity challenges. But before that, if I recall correctly, because I did look this up,
I'm sure you did.
Last season, I looked this up because it happened. I was like, whoa, when has this happened before? The only other time that this had happened was way back when, 16 years ago, the very first season of Survivor.
Wow.
So that's the tidbit. Second part of that, the
Hello.
I've
Lost you for
what was the last thing you heard?
You were talking about the first season. The last time we had 5 individual immunity.
The last time we had 5, was Survivor Borneo, and last season Survivor Koran actually holds the record for most different individual immunity winners through the first however many challenges, with 6. So we could potentially see that record broken this season, depending on who wins the next couple of immunities.
I'll jump the gun though. One thing about the immunity challenges this year, have you noticed a trend in, I think, all of them?
There's a lot of endurance / balance competitions.
Yeah, well, they are endurance and balance, but they're not the endurance like the hour-long ones. Like almost every challenge has been done within or at least on TV it appears, less than an hour.
If I
compared to those epic, those epic half-day baking in the sun.
Oh yeah, we've had a lot of those. I think production has tried to get away from those just because
they're boring.
They're boring and they take forever, and it's just the castaways sitting around for hours on end. So I think that's part of why they've decided to let's try to make these challenges harder. Let's add some temptations to try to get them off the challenges. Try to end this faster, which I don't really have a problem with, because it adds a little bit of strategy to the game. I think if I was listening close enough, I believe the immunity challenge last night lasted about 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah, it was really short.
Because And that was in like
Yeah.
they didn't. I don't think they showed the challenge in real time, but yeah, I remember. Yeah, it got down to two people, and Jeff was like, "You've been out here 4 minutes." I'm like, "That's all it's been." So it was. So that one went crazy fast. Um, but let's talk about uh, last week. Let's just start out. Um, to review, beginning of last week, we just got everyone just got back from tribal council. Taylor was the one voted out previously, and come back to camp, and Jay reveals the food. And do you think that made a difference?
No.
No.
It was over. Like they were already bitter about it. Like that deal was done and over, and there wasn't all that much food left, was there? That's what I was a little confused about. Because he dug
Well, I was confused because Taylor said they ate it all, and apparently there's more food. So,
yeah.
but Jay reveals it, trying to get back in some good graces, act of good faith and all that. But you don't think it made a difference.
No, not in the end. Because things were already starting. By that point, we're starting to get pretty divided, as it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's been very divided ever since the Taylor vote. Kind of
Yeah, and it was pretty easy. So, I mean, I appreciate that Jay was probably trying to do the right thing,
Of course.
but I don't think it made a huge difference.
No. Well, we will see. He hasn't been voted out yet, but he did win immunity once. So we'll see how long that he can last in his current situation. But while we're on the topic of revealing things, Will goes ahead, takes it upon himself to reveal the location of Jay's hidden immunity. And
Right.
did that make a difference?
Well, Will's definitely a conversation for later, because he's trying to put on his big boy pants, as I put it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's grow up. And I think that was the first spark of it, and I didn't notice it as much then. But it really came out, obviously, later in this week.
Yeah. Will is trying to take a hold of his own game and make something out of it.
So I think it did make a difference that people knew that Jay, and it spread like wildfire, right?
Yeah, right. Everybody knows Jay has an idol now.
Yeah.
And then
Which
at
is-
this point,
Which is really important to know, because the people you don't know that have idols can play them when you don't expect them to.
right. We'll get to that later.
Exactly.
Because at this point in the game, there were 3 idols still in play, owned by Jay, David, and Adam. Now everybody knows about Jay's. Zeke knows about Adam's. No, Zeke knows about David's. Pardon me, and nobody knows about Adam's.
It's about Adams, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's some very different styles of keeping your idol secret. Does revealing the location of a hidden immunity idol, do you think that builds trust the way that the players seem to think it does? I think we've talked about this before. But there's been a lot of revealing, oh, I have a hidden immunity idol. Let's use this as a way to build trust. Is it effective?
No, I don't think so.
Not in Survivor, I think.
No, I don't think so. My idea about the idols is, in the past, it seems like they're most effective when they're secret. and you use them personally for your, not necessarily on yourself, but like you use them thinking single-mindedly, not by letting other people know by democracy. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's not. I don't think it builds the trust that's in there. No, I don't think it's building the trust in the way that they think it is. I think it's just complicating it because the more people that know, then the more
people that have the potential to tell somebody who doesn't know.
yeah, it just makes it infinitely more complex.
It's like
Actually, does it end up working in their favor?
Somebody said, and I can't remember who said it, but somebody said having an idol is there is a big advantage in Survivor, but having everybody know that you have an idol, that diminishes the strength of that advantage.
Right. Like it almost causes more problems than it solves.
Yeah. So,
Anyway.
So let's go on to the reward challenge, and I forget what the challenge was. It was something to do with the water. David wanted to sit out.
And then they convinced him to do it. I would have been perfectly fine letting him sit out if he was volunteering, to take himself out of the running. It was kind of, I don't know. It was kind of nice though that they built him up. I think David,
I agree.
Over this, he's almost at this point. It feels like he's trying to make a character of himself as being the weak guy, which he's obviously disproven at this point. So I don't know why he keeps on doing it. It's kind of annoying. Like maybe it's part of his game.
I don't know that he is, because in some ways I kind of understand his perspective. When you don't have a lot of confidence, which we've seen from David, we've seen him express that he doesn't anyway. You don't necessarily want to put other people at risk or make them, or give them any more reason to dislike you. And I can kind of vouch for that in my own life. In some areas, I've never had a ton of confidence myself.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I think at this point, though, by taking himself out of the game, he's like not playing when he's actually really playing really hard. So it kind of
I think there's a difference between volunteering to sit out of a reward challenge when there's an odd number of people, and not playing the game hard. I think that was that was kind of a attempted strategy move, saying, look, I don't want to build any more dislike, or I don't want to have the weight of other people losing on my shoulders, which is what's going to happen if you lose.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a personal thing. It was kind of I don't want to feel like other people hate me for this. So I don't want to get myself in that situation.
I think it all boils down though to, if you're going to go on Survivor,
learn to swim.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's it. That's what it boils down to. Learn to swim, learn to make fire. These are basic life.
Fire and swimming.
These are basic life skills that everybody should have. Maybe. But the big thing that happened on this reward was the letters from home.
Yeah. Well, and we really learned a lot about Adam from that. I think it was.
Yeah, and I've liked Adam since the very beginning of the season. And watching him just break down and cry when you receive the letters it's just kind of heart wrenching because we the viewers we know what's going on at home, um, but I'm not convinced that everybody else knows. I don't think they do, and that's kind of a heavy burden when you're out there playing Survivor to have that kind of weight on your shoulders
Yeah, and I
of a home life that you don't know what you're coming home to.
right. And I think to his respect in his gameplay, he's like not well. I wondered if when he did start breaking down whether he was trying to play that to his advantage, which I hate to bring that sort of thing up, but I think he hasn't previously because he's just been like in it, like he's normal. In the past, I think we've had players who do bring up their, oh, I'm poor, oh, I'm
Right.
whatever.
We had
To try to garner, support or sympathy votes or whatever.
and
I don't do it, or I don't get the sense that that's what he was trying to do. I think
no, not at all. I definitely feel like Adam is genuine, to say the least. He, yeah, it's not like he's playing. He's not trying to play a Johnny Fairplay scam where we got the dead grandmother, and he's but playing with a secret like this. It's kind of similar to Jeremy from Cambodia, who, for 39 days hid the pregnancy of his wife, and revealed it at Final Tribal. It also reminds me of Jenna Maraska, who won Survivor Amazon. She played in season 6, and when she came out on Survivor, almost the exact same story as Adam. Mother had cancer. I think it was breast cancer, same as Adam's mom, and you go through 39 days in another country, wondering what am I coming home to. And so it's gotta be tough. And this is kind of a burden that Adam's chosen to bear on his own. And I can respect him for it, and it's really kind of, I don't know,
it was also kind of interesting though that like usually the letters from home are more of like or they know they're playing for them, and these were just kind of like, oh, by the way, here are letters. Did you know?
I know what you mean, and it's not always the case where it's like, oh, by the way, here's letters from home. You're playing for these. I've seen several times where players win a reward, and they get to go. They get out on the reward, and then in the middle of everything, somebody brings them letters. They're like, by the way, here's letters. And I think they like the letters to be shocking. They want to see genuine reactions to letters from home. So let's see. We talked about David. We talked about the letters. Who won that first immunity? That was David who won the first immunity challenge.
Yeah, and he's won more than one immunity, right?
No, not this season. We've only had 5 individual immunities, and
but
I was very surprised that David won that challenge.
Right.
To be honest, of course, I've also been very surprised that Jay hasn't won every challenge.
But David has been okay. This gets back to my point about David wanting to sit out the other competition, and I totally get your perspective on that. But like, David has been on more winning teams and other challenges and stuff, and been a vital player or a contributing player, and then he wins. I think that's why, like, when he wanted to sit out and then he wins, I was like, really, man, is this just a game, or are you like putting on a show here? Like, I don't know. I don't buy that. I think he's trying to build up a character of himself more than than the reality of what he can actually do. You seem to disagree.
I don't know if I disagree or not, because I definitely see your point, but I also see like I kind of understand where David's coming from. He talked about having this, how his, utmost fear of death became kind of evolved into a fear of life, and it's kind of and how Survivor's been a journey to overcome that fear.
Yeah, but don't you think he's already overcome it? I mean, I think
I don't know. I
think he's one of the most confident players out there right now. Especially
in one sense. In one sense, I can see that and agree with that. But in the other sense, I know that it takes more than just these little pushes to build confidence and overcome fears. Overcoming fear is a marathon, and sometimes it's a lifelong struggle.
Yeah, no, I get your point. Maybe I'm trivializing David's struggles. But I shouldn't do that, because that's just not people. However, I still get back to David's playing a pretty solid game, I think.
Yeah.
In fact, I think at this point I wouldn't mind if he wins.
Yeah. And we are definitely getting to that point.
Yeah.
But right now we're in a there's a bit of a trust cluster going on.
That was brilliant, actually. Don't you think?
So yes, and I love Hannah. I think Hannah's adorable.
Naps to Hannah. We love Hannah. Team Hannah. I don't think she has any chance of winning, but go team.
Oh, poor Hannah. I could see Hannah sitting at final tribal, but I don't think she can.
She's a floater, I think, and that's okay. I don't dislike floaters, but she's just kind of, riding the tide here and there.
Okay, I disagree.
You think she's not playing hard?
I think she's playing. I think she's playing hard. I think she's playing well. I just have the advantage of I just have the advantage of having, reading the edit and counting confessionals. That's my point.
Okay,
but,
so, let's update then on the confessional count and all that stuff. So,
I don't have it in front of me. I actually don't. I watched.
What's trending?
Yes. Still, as of last week's episode, which is the most recent update that I have, the top three were David, Adam, and Zeke. who were three players who were three of the four players. Wait, was it David, Alan, Zeke? I think it may have been.
I saw you tweet it out. I think it was still those three.
I'm gonna double check really quick. Pull up my handy dandy smartphone. Give me a second. I've got it right here.
That's very millennial of you.
It is. It is. The top four were actually the four players who had a confessional every episode, which is David, Adam, Jay, and Zeke. So that's as of last week. I haven't had a chance to watch last night's episode a second time yet.
But so Hannah, that was great, and she was really, it was very apt for that time, and I think for this season, it's remarkably spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Because while they are divided into like tribes and they're not alliances in the traditional sense that we've seen.
Not that we've seen in the past. We've seen some alliances go from day 1 to day 39, which is
and like perennially vote. I mean, it's like militant alliances, but not this season has not been about that. So it really is the trust cluster as
I like the bring back of the term voting blocks that was referenced once or twice. Keep in mind that the last season that these players got to watch before leaving for Fiji was Cambodia. Second chance. They did not get to see Koh Rong before it, in its entirety.
Right.
So we got a reference to voting blocks before we heard the trust cluster explained, which was amazing. And the trust cluster. Go ahead.
No, I was just I think it was my pick from first episode was Chris or one of my predictions, and so
right. And you're not.
Both of our picks have gone now, I think.
Yeah, but at least we made the jury, so there's that.
True, we did. So that's just too bad.
And you did better than me. I picked the first jury.
I was a little surprised. It was just like all of a sudden, okay, Chris, bye. Like it was pretty unceremonious, and he was just gone.
Yeah.
And he hasn't even done anything. They just like all of a sudden.
Well, and I think we talked about pre-merge that we talked about how people like Chris and Ken were going to be viewed dangerously because of their challenge potential.
Right.
And I think people saw that, and they saw that he wasn't just that, oh, this guy has the potential to win a lot of challenges, but he's also playing a very good game. And I think he was playing a very good game. And so
I think with Chris departing, well, as we go on, it starts to crumble a little bit.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
So Chris goes home, and then we have the twin minds of Zeke and David again. And they turn on each other.
Right.
Almost out of the blue.
Or
it's like all of a sudden it's David versus Zeke. And I think they were both playing very well, very good games. both are seemingly likable, which means they've got a lot of potential to win over a jury. But they both turned on each other at the same time.
Don't you think they all, or I brought it up earlier, don't you think they all are pretty likable?
No, definitely. They're all.
There is no outstanding, evil villain.
You're right. There's not really a villain character this season, and it was Taylor, and he's gone, thankfully.
He wasn't even that evil per se.
He was just stupid.
He was stupid, exactly. And he was doing like stupid things on purpose, like having an affair, shouldn't be called an affair, having a showmance,
stealing food, just being ridiculous.
Right. But so back to Zeke and David. I mean, I think they both realize, though, that they're sort of running the show now. And they have been in the background.
Yeah.
For a while. Don't you think? Or I think David definitely has.
No. I definitely agree, because
I think Zeke has climbing that trajectory.
I think David and Zeke were both, very, very strong players who had a lot of control over the game.
And so, isn't it during this episode, and maybe I'm jumping the gun here a bit, where Zeke pulls Hannah aside because they're on opposite sides, and at like a water well or
Yes.
tree or wherever, and they have that scene where he's like trying to just talk with her, strategize.
He's trying to talk with her, and Hannah reacts exactly like I would.
It's a no-go.
Hannah reacts exactly like I would. She gets a little flustered, doesn't know how to answer without without lying or
Yes, I think
she couldn't think of a good lie.
Yeah, no, I think that's when you just smile and say, yeah, okay. Or just like
just agree. Just nod.
Yeah, you sort of kind of agree, and you go back to camp and
just smile and agree. That's what you do in that situation. You just smile and agree. Yep, absolutely. If you don't feel comfortable saying, no, this is actually how I feel, then you smile and you agree. And that is how you play Survivor.
Quote from.
So let's talk about this hilarious reward challenge. So the snake crawl.
Yeah. Oh, lots of butt cracks.
That was amazing. That was the most amazing
for butt cracks.
That was the most amazing, awesome Survivor challenge I've ever seen. I want to see this challenge every season from now on.
It was kind of weird. Like, I don't know if it was just people's physical abilities or the way they actually tied them up. Some people were much, much better at it, though, than others.
Yeah, and I noticed that a lot of people struggled with this challenge, and it was. So I guess it was kind of surprising to me, but go ahead.
No, I was just like, I wonder if they really tied them all up in the same way, or if it was just like, I couldn't tell what the advantage was, but some people just could do it, and others couldn't do it.
I think it was just figuring out the learning curve faster.
Maybe.
I really think that's all it was, because we saw because Will and Adam both did very well on their legs of the race, and I think it's just figuring out how to worm through the sand.
And this was also the race where we had the family members watching, right?
No, that was last night.
Oh,
So, but what do you think about the rock draw and someone sitting out a challenge and going on rewarding day?
someone's sitting out and going on reward. So that's Dave.
That was David last week.
Right?
And I think it was kind of the way I saw it as the episode aired was a kind of retribution for his willingness to sit out at the previous challenge and losing.
Did he volunteer to sit out, or how did he end up sitting out? Oh no, he just drew for it, right?
They drew rocks, and he got the odd rock, and so he got to sit out. But because he got to sit out this time, he actually won the right to go on reward without participating in the challenge. Do you like that move by production?
That I have a strong feeling about it. What I dislike is, it seems like this season, and it happens in Survivor, but there's always a plague of like, you have to vote somebody up to sit out. Like, I just like everybody to play, if there's a way to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because
yeah,
it ends up with these like awkward situations, or somebody is taking advantage, or not being like, if just everybody could play. You know what I mean? That's what I would prefer more. I guess they obviously can't control that, but
yeah, they can't always do it the way they want to do it. They can't always let everybody play. I think there has to be some kind of strategy and letting people sit out, or and it can be a tough call for production. I think that's really I think that's all it was. But they got to go on. But it ended up being David along with Zeke, Brett, and Sunday going on this reward.
right. And this was the boat that was like right offshore from the camp.
No, this was the other one. This was the one where
this is the problem to production with having, because it was a double elimination.
it was two episodes
On one night,
and it can get confusing.
and
Track of everything.
yeah, and we were all eating turkey and having Thanksgiving and everything. It's just difficult, I think.
Right. But I want to talk about. Actually, by me saying I want to talk about, I want you to talk about the conversation that Brett and Zeke had.
Okay, so
because this is not something that's relevant to my life necessarily.
and
But I know that this scene was very important to the LBG.
TQ. Yes.
Yes, that community. I couldn't get the red letters in the right order.
You have to learn it sort of as a cluster.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was interesting, and you'll have to back me up on this, but I think this may be the first season that we've had two gay guys in the same season. I think we've had a lesbian and a gay guy in past seasons.
I will have to look that up and get back with you, because I
know we've already talked about
other than blood versus water seasons. You may be right.
Okay. I don't remember. I'm bad on those facts.
But we will. But I'll get back to you.
However, so I think I've already talked about this before, a couple weeks ago. How I was talking about there was no how the stereotypes this season were pretty mundane, basically. It was a pretty even playing field, and they didn't have the stereotypical gay person or whatever, various things. And then we discussed, though, that Zeke was the gay guy.
He was the gay guy this season. And
yeah, he was the gay guy.
That's just how it was. Yeah.
And it wasn't a big deal. And then it comes out, so in this episode, Brett, and why did Brett even sit down and tell him this? I can't remember what Brett's motivation was.
I believe it was bonding, trying to strengthen a bond and an alliance that he was, trying to have with Zeke.
And it was a true bond because they're from different sides, right? Zeke's a millennial and Brett is the Gen Xer. Although they're, from my perspective, they look about the same age, which is kind of weird. Don't you think? I don't know how old Brett is.
Yeah, I want to say Brett's in his early 40s.
And maybe Zeke's 35, 30, early 30s.
No, Zeke's like 27, 28.
Oh. Sorry, Zeke. You just kind of look old.
Well, he did admit in the first episode that he was not dressed for Survivor, that he was dressed for the
he did, yeah.
The singles mixer at the old folks' home.
Yeah. So anyway, Brett, it comes out as gay or whatever. I forget exactly how he said it. But the important thing about this scene was how nonchalant it is. Didn't you think? Or that was my perspective. And I was really happy to see this happen on the season of Survivor. Because, first of all, Zeke was never typecast from the beginning as the gay guy. And then we have Brett, who totally flew under the radar of everybody, right? Like, I was like, okay, sure, whatever. But I was kind of surprised. Like, I wasn't expecting that at all.
I wasn't either. And I think I tweeted at it, and as soon as it happened, I was like, wait, what? And I couldn't tell if he was serious or if he was being real and trying to have a bonding moment. And
no, I think it was serious.
Or if it was just a strategy play trying to get closer to Zeke because he sees that Zeke is playing a good game.
And it actually makes sense because there was a part of that scene where, like, Zeke was talking about Brett, or referring to Brett, and how Brett had been in the military, apparently, which I had missed. But anyways, in a time before Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and, like, there's a real divide in the LGBTQ community, the lesbian gay community, between the millennial Gen Xers, I think. Because if you're on the older side of that scale, life was very different, even 10 years ago, if not 20 years ago.
Right.
Being a gay person. Versus now, when gay people can get married, it's like a constitutional right. Unless our blessed president-elect does something about that. But I don't want to talk about politics.
We won't talk about politics. We're not here to talk about politics.
But do you know what I mean? Like, it's something that some people probably don't understand as being such a great divide. And I think between those two bonding over that issue, and Zeke really put it pretty poignantly, like, those older guys, the older guys going through some of that stuff have really paved the way for some of us younger people.
Right.
And now, to see it on Survivor as sort of such a nonchalant thing, it's really a testament to how culture, everything, production, TV, how everything has really changed. Even from the very first episode of Survivor, with Rich Hatch being the gay guy, also the naked guy. But, like, that was quite a thing back then when Survivor started. And now it's just sort of run-of-the-mill. Oh, yeah, there's a gay guy. Oh, wait, there's two. Okay, who cares? thumbs up, Survivor. I think they handled it pretty well.
I agree, and I think it was from my perspective, it was interesting to watch, and I liked Zeke's quote. You have to play Survivor the way you live your life. And I think that's what both Zeke and Brett have been doing in regards to this part of their life, at least. If you go on Survivor and you try to play a game that doesn't fit into your personality, we've seen a lot of people who just completely stumble and fall from trying to do too much. So let's move on to
one final thought on the gay guys, just because
okay.
Or have personal perspective on it. I think they may have played a misstep, though, because I'm talking about how wonderful I think it is that they've been sort of normative about all this stuff. But the gay boys always have to have the hags. So, the fag hags. So the girls in their background, and neither of them have done that. Has been part of the problem, or in the past we've seen the gay guys always team up with the girls, so to speak, or something like that. And none of these two have done that, which is an interesting twist on that whole perspective of playing the game and everything in the past. So,
I mean, they've got Sunday, but I don't know.
Yeah, but she's like the Sunday school teacher.
Yeah.
No, but they haven't done that in the past. Like, I can't remember. A couple seasons ago, it was like the gay guy and like 4 girls who were the alliance. And you'll have to remember it back for me. But
you might be thinking of Ty.
Oh, well, yeah, Ty, too, totally. But they haven't done that. And that is a strategic move that gay guys can play, whether or not they should, or it's stereotypical.
Yeah.
But these two have not done that at all. And Brett has totally proven.
They're playing like an actual, a real Survivor game.
Yeah, they're just playing the game.
So we need to get moving because we still got a whole other episode to talk about. We haven't got to the second tribal council yet. Big thing happens at tribal council.
Okay.
Jay has immunity, and we've got 2 sides that go to a tie between Hannah and Zeke.
Yeah. Keep going. Explain it for us all. Unpack this a little bit.
Okay.
I think they're a little confused.
So what happens during a tie?
Yeah. So describe the rules, because I'm guessing you know the rules more thoroughly than I do.
In the case of a tie vote at tribal council, all players except the tied players vote
again,
and you can vote. They re-vote, and you can only vote for one of the players who are not voting. So in this case, it was Zeke and Hannah. If the re-vote also comes back as a tie, then up until the final 4. Then it goes to. Pardon me. Let me back up a little. If the revote comes back as a tie, the tie is considered deadlocked, and it goes to an open discussion. And if the players involved in the revote can come up to a unanimous decision, then that decision stands. If a unanimous decision cannot be made, then up until final 4, those players will let's see,
Well,
the tied players become immune. So Zeke and Hannah gain immunity, along with Jay, who won individual immunity at the challenge, and Ken, who had the immunity idol played for him.
okay, pause. First of all, stupid move by David. Why did he gave that over to Ken just on a whim, basically? Because like they said, oh, they're whispering Ken over here, and then he gave them the idol. That was a really, I thought it was a stupid move on David's side.
Yeah, and I don't know who's really to blame for that. I think it was Sunday and Brett giving misleading information to Adam and Hannah.
But David bought it, and he did it. Like,
well, what else are you gonna do? I mean, it's a tough call when you're getting information in tribal council. You've got an immunity idol. It's like, okay, now what do I do? And you've got to make a decision.
There was a lot going on at this tribal council, and then we have this like cluster gameplay here, and we end up drawing. Well, now
when
I don't remember drawing rocks very often. Like I was a little thrown off with all this because I was like, wait a second, why aren't they going to make fire? And why did they get it? Like I don't know about this rule. Like
the intent of the rock draw is to actually encourage the players to take control of the game for themselves. It's to discourage these deadlocks, because what happens in a deadlock is you have an opportunity to come to a unanimous decision. If you can't come to a unanimous decision, then everybody who's voting, they have to draw rocks, and then it goes. And that's how a different player is eliminated.
I was surprised that they couldn't come to a unanimous vote.
I wasn't.
Oh, really?
No. Not this group.
It was so in their. It was far worse for each of their individual rocks, because one of them was going to have to go home, and
right.
Everything that they were trying to do was going to not happen. Because then Zeke and Hannah were immune. Like, it's kind of like, I don't mean to bring up politics, but like, it's sort of like when people are talking about, and I'll freely talk about it, voting for Bernie or Hillary, for example. But in the end, you're not thinking about who could actually win the election and who did. You know what I mean? Like, it's the forest from the trees. You're not seeing where you're voting or what you're after, and by not coming to a unanimous decision, they shot themselves in the foot. Because now that it ends up with draw the odd rock, and she went home, and that was a total shock of all the people. I think.
Yeah,
I think if anybody else had got the rock, it would have been less traumatic. But
yeah.
Jessica was probably the worst scenario.
Totally agree. I remember watching it. As I was watching it, I was on the edge of my seat.
And
because I was so excited, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna draw rocks. This is amazing.
And did you notice he drew the very first rock?
I did see that.
And so she drew the wrong.
But as soon as they revealed the rocks, I went from being on the edge of my seat, so excited, to like, my entire face just dropped. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Oh, and she cried. It was sad. I was
It
sad.
was sad. We love Jessica. As I do.
Yeah, and she's a
Um,
nice little tweeter.
she's great at tweeting. She's the season's Twitter champ.
Yes, I agree.
Um,
Very nice.
so, um, fire making tiebreakers only occur at final four.
And that happens much more often.
That happens much more often because you tend to get two sides of two. So, players. So drawing rocks at final 10, that's a big deal, because we've never had a rock draw where more than three people were drawing rocks before.
And it's final 10, so it must be something to do with those sort of even numbers like that, like how it can get so divided.
Right. So Jessica goes home. She wills the legacy advantage to Ken. We don't know a lot about the legacy advantage still. I'm actually I'm
We don't know what day we're on because it's day 36 and she was getting awfully close.
You're right. We're at day, I want to say 31, maybe even 33 now.
I was thinking like, oh my gosh, that's so sad because she made it so far with that advantage.
We may see the legacy advantage come into play next episode. Just saying. So
If we're in the day 30s and we move ahead a week, he'll have it or he'll be able to use it.
Right. So we've got this next last night's episode starts. Kim gets the legacy advantage. I'm thinking that after David's idle play, at this point in the game, there's not going to be any more idols planted. So we're down to two idols in the game, Adams and Jays. Nobody knows about Adams. Everybody knows about Jays. And we get to the family visit. And it's always an emotional episode. I can't think of a family visit where I didn't cry. So that's just how it is. But Jay wins the challenge, and he gets to take 3 survivors and their loved ones.
And well, we should point out that Jay like overwhelmingly won that one. He like blew through.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That was a Aussie move that we've been waiting for Jay to do.
Yeah,
and he finally did it. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. This means this probably has no merit to Survivor. Jay's sister's cute. That's all I'm gonna say on the subject.
She is pretty. I always find it interesting who their family members are that come. Like sometimes it's obvious, it's
sometimes it's the mom, the dad, the brother, the sister.
It's kind of interesting, like Jay's sister. I don't know. That's why I only comment on that. She is pretty. Totally.
I like I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I like seeing how everyone just reacts to seeing their family for the first time, because we don't, we kind of see them on TV, and we're just kind of going through everything with them, as viewers. But the level of exhaustion, both mental, physical, emotional, these players have gone through for the last 30 plus days. It really helps you understand why exactly these people are breaking down in tears after not seeing them for seeing a family member for a month. You know, I can go a month without seeing somebody and not cry. But I mean, that level of exhaustion and mistrust through everybody is
Well, then you also have to think like in our modern day, it's like not calling people, not Facebooking, not Instagramming, whatever.
right.
I think even more than when the show began 16 years ago or whenever, uh, like the deprivation of not being in touch with people must be even worse nowadays. I would think. And it's also interesting to see the juxtaposition of like the survivors out there playing. And we talked about this a week ago, 2 weeks ago, how they're starting to look kind of, you know, ragged. And they've been out there for a month, essentially.
Looking very ragged.
They're looking ragged.
Looking very.
Family members are all kind of, you know, pretty and shiny and clean.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
So we don't get to see. We don't
see them because they look similar. I was particularly thinking of Ken and Ken's brother.
I loved Hannah's reaction. We're back to Hannah again.
Oh, Hannah. We like Hannah. We like Hannah. I like Hannah.
I loved Hannah's reaction was priceless.
Hannah was like, oh, they're so handsome.
That's so handsome.
And she looked at Zeke. Yeah, totally.
Oh, Zeke was all over it. He's like, yep. This is
Ken. Well, he's a model, right? Isn't that what he does?
correct, as far as I recall. Yes,
Pretty handsome, and now that he's all kind of scrawny and has abs and stuff,
and beardy.
yeah. But anyway, the juxtaposition between them, because they're both good-looking guys, but like the other one, you know, has been eating.
This is true. I really didn't pay that much attention to Ken's brother. I was like, oh, it's Ken's brother. I didn't even register what he looked like. Like,
Well,
for me, it was just like,
right.
Especially after Jay's sister.
Right, but did you not notice how Jay's sister? I hate to call them. So all the survivors are looking skinny. Did you not notice that every single family member, whether it's Jay's sister or Ken's brother, were? I wouldn't say they were overweight by any means, but like they are plumper looking. They've been drinking more water. They have been.
They were healthy looking.
Yeah, they were healthy looking. Exactly.
Yeah, I did. I am noticing that.
I thought that was interesting to see, especially from like a body image perspective, how like being out and all that stuff, and how that's changed over time.
Right. So we mentioned Jay wins this challenge, gets to he picks Will, Sunday, and surprisingly Adam to take in their reward, have their family members come back to camp. And
so what do you think about his final pick of Adam?
That's who I wanted him to pick. And he did a fantastic job of justifying it. I'm more interested in Adam giving Jay the advantage.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that was in some respects. I think that was giving up an advantage is always iffy. But I think for Adam, that was actually the best move he's made this game so far. And let me just say why. It's because at this point, everybody knows he has the advantage. Everybody's seen him, kind of threaten to use the advantage at this reward, and he didn't.
So he kind of comes out It's like a
So,
win-win
but
situation for him,
it's
right?
kind of a win-win now because he no longer has this thing on him. Everybody, even though everybody still thinks he does, he's given it to Jay. So it's off of him, and people are going to be still going to be watching him, but he has nothing. He has nothing for him now. But he has kind of um, a bond building with Jay, and that's part of why I think it's a good move for Adam, is
I think it
because
was. I think it was a very chivalrous, like it was the right thing to do, and I was really proud that he did it. I liked it, but at the same time, I was like thinking in the back of my mind as a Survivor sort of thinking player, did he really need to do that though? I don't think he needed to do that.
I don't think he needed to do it, but I don't think there was going to be another reward that was going to be worth taking. He got the reward that he wanted, which was to spend time with his brother, get information from home. There wasn't going to be another reward for Adam that was worth saying, "Oh, I want to go on this reward. This is my reward now."
Yeah,
And
but he got what he wanted.
so I think this is saying, I think this is the only way for him, without revealing information to Jay about what's going on at home, to say, "Look, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you picking me, but I can kind of show you by giving you this. This is how much this means to me. Is I'm giving you this. I'm giving you this advantage."
Yeah, I totally get it. But he
And I,
didn't have to do it. He didn't have to do it, and he could eat 2 episodes from now and possibly win the immunity challenge.
so
That's where I was like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have done that because you didn't need to do that. And it was pretty interesting that Jay did that Jay did it because he felt he should do it. Like,
I think Jay and Adams both made the right move.
they did make the right move. But Jay didn't do it because he had to, or because he did it because he felt it was the right thing to do. Not because he had to do it. It wasn't a gameplay, it was just a human being thing. Like
Yeah.
decency. Like, this guy needs
So we're going to kind of gloss over the immunity challenge just because it took like 5 minutes for them in real time to win that challenge, and Adam won. And we go to tribal council and we're split again. And
Well, we've glossed a little over Will.
I'm about to say his name.
Okay.
Because Will's sitting dead in the middle right now.
You know what I was thinking about this whole episode when Will was going off on his rants and trying to play the game? And I don't.
Teenager.
I kind of like Will originally, or like I thought he was playing a good game, and now I was like, dude, you're 18 years old. You're acting sophomoric.
I've never really cared too much about Will. Will's never made me care about.
He sounded like a child this week, which he is. He's young and inexperienced, and so I don't like. I don't make fun of him.
He's the Survivor's youngest player ever,
and he's been doing a really good job. And actually, even this week, he played a good game. But he was like, "I want to have my name on a veto or on a resume." Wasn't that what they were talking about?
Yeah, well, you gotta, and he's kind of right. You have to be able to have a resume if you win and if you get to try to final tribal council. So I understood where he was coming from, but you don't need to express that at tribal council. You
And I think
need
he's kind of jumping the gun because, like, he's kind of flying under the radar a little bit, which is not a bad thing. I don't,
right.
or I think it's a good gameplay, and he's been doing a good job. But, like, do you remember several weeks ago, Hannah was like, "Oh, I guess I can play the game," and then she said something about how, like, "Oh, that feels good. Let's play the game even harder." You
Right.
know what I mean? And I think that's where Will is probably going to go astray, and they even alluded to it in the preview for next week. Because
Yeah.
this week Will was like, "Oh, I can do this. Oh, I should do this. Oh, I'm playing more, for I have to do this. I have to be a strong player." And it's sophomore. Like he's a young guy trying to uh, uh, play or stretch his authority or his ability, to be a man or a grown up, for example. And it's probably going to bite him in the butt, I would guess.
Probably. Um, but I think it's interesting that the vote for the second week or the second tribal council in a row, the vote comes down to Zeke and Hannah again.
Yeah.
But this time, Adam plays his idol, which nobody knew about, and he played it correctly on Hannah.
Finally,
Yeah.
someone played an idol correctly. Thank God they weren't all wasted. But so
I think it's interesting that we've had 3 idol plays this season so far, and nobody has used the idol on themselves yet.
yes, that is very interesting.
We saw David play for Jess. We saw David play for Ken, and now we've seen Adam play for Hannah. And
nobody's themselves.
I like it. I like sharing the love.
It's really nice, right?
It's a good feeling when I can't imagine the feeling that that they have when you realize, dude, you just played an idol for me.
But is it maybe short-sighted? Like, because, well, I guess now we only have Jay's idol left.
Right.
And he'll probably play it on himself.
I think he will, and I think he'll probably save it for
later.
the last time, as long as he can.
Yeah.
So he hasn't really been a target since Taylor went home, which is surprising.
But back to playing the idols for other people, like David's one for playing so hard and finding the idols. He really hasn't pushed his game that much further by playing the idols. So it's been a real waste, a real shame, because he could have rode those idols to the end.
Possibly.
I think likely. Possibly, yes, maybe. But he really could have if he were a different kind of player.
I mean, the times that he played his idol, he didn't need to play them for himself at all. He didn't get any votes. So,
and that's my point. Like, and he knew it each time. I can see. So, David had 2 idols. So if you have 2 idols, okay, I have an extra idol to spare, right? So maybe I'll toss one to save my strategic alliance or the people, I'm playing with. But to throw away 2, essentially, to not really, did it really change his game that much? Definitely not Ken.
I don't know if it changed his game because it didn't not for the Kin vote, but I think it probably could potentially could have on the Jessica vote early in the game.
Yeah, maybe. But
But
you know what I mean?
this season could have taken a very different turn if that hadn't happened.
And I wonder if you. So in the past, we've seen people not play the idols and save them for themselves.
Right.
So I'm just curious, like, I think the season could have taken a very different turn if they had saved them for themselves. And we'll see. But
we will. This season has been so exciting. So many ups and downs so far. The rumor mill right now, as far as I'm hearing, is that next week is a double elimination episode.
and we should mention that in the end, Hannah was saved.
Right. And it was
But
saved.
Adam's
idol is gone, but he used it correctly, at least.
and snaps to Adam. He had it stuffed in his crotch. And Jeff Probst was like, "Oh yeah, I'll grab that."
I think for Jeff it was just, just give me the idol. This I'm gonna do this the right way.
I thought that was
consummate professional.
I thought it was kind of funny.
It was funny. Adam was, I think, probably trying too hard to make it funny. He's like, Jeff, you don't have to touch this if you don't want to. It was, but
he had on. So I was a little confused. Not to dwell on someone's crotch, but he had on like shorts and a sweater and everything, and he's like, "I had to stuff it in my crotch." Like, come on, man.
He's wearing cargo shorts. He's got like 7 pockets.
I was like, okay, dude, it's not like you're naked. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know what he was talking about. He should have stuck it in one of his other pockets.
Wait. But Zeke goes home.
Right.
I was disappointed. Because I thought I was kind of starting to warm up and think, I wouldn't mind if Zeke won. Or I kind of like the idea of Zeke and David because they were like the two real players. I wanted to see them battle it out further.
Well, that's not going to happen this season.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
We could. The theme of rivals has always been floated about in the terms of potential returning themes. That could happen at some point. I don't know. It probably won't, but that is a there's potential for a future season of David versus Zeke. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
I think Zeke would play a much different game than David would if they came back. I think Zeke would play even if he did.
So next week we've possibly got a double elimination in an hour episode. We've got, I think, 2 weeks left. I think next week is the last standard episode, and then the week after that is finale.
Well, and the finale is usually like 2 hours, right? Or two plus. Oh,
Finale is usually 2 hours plus an hour-long reunion episode
so
where we
that's
get
kind
to
of
talk about.
episodes, possibly. But yeah, we still have a lot of people on the.
We've got 8 people left. If next week really is a double elimination, which makes the most sense, then we'll have 6 people at finale, which is the same as we've had at the during the Cambodia season, which was the last time we had 20 players. So we'll have it'll be 3 eliminations in one episode. That'll be a monster to get through.
So at this point, I think we should make new predictions.
I'm sticking with Jay.
Really?
Really.
No. I think it's David.
So we're going with Jay and David. And
it's not because I like David per se. It just seems like David's playing the best game, and he's probably going to sneak it out. Unless Floater, like Sunday, somehow sweeps in these last 2 episodes. But
we'll see. We will see. Let's make it a little more interesting and call, like, what do you think is going to be the final 3? Don't just pick the winner, pick the final 3.
oh gosh, that's even more difficult. David, Hannah, and Jay, maybe? I don't know.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say Ken.
No.
David wants to go to the final 3 with Ken. So.
Oh, well, maybe.
I think it could be.
Ken's expendable in the end, don't you think?
Probably.
Like I don't see Ken making it.
I think it could be Jay and Sunday and Brett.
Oh. Yeah. Well, that would sort of be the flip of what I said. What I said, although we're both forgetting Adam.
Right.
So do we think Adam's going to get voted out next?
I don't know what's going to happen. Honestly,
Because what did I say? I said Jay.
You said Jay, David, Hannah.
Yeah.
I could see Hannah sitting at final tribal. That would not surprise me.
Yeah, I think of all these people we've thrown out, I think Hannah is most likely to be there. It could be Adam. Like we could swap out a lot of people: Adam, Ken, David, etc.
Yeah,
I think Hannah's probably going to be there.
We'll see. Either way, I'm looking forward to final tribal. I think we're gonna have 3 fans sitting at final tribal, which
I also think
is a big deal.
I also think this year, because we mentioned it, like there's no villain, and even if the people who are sort of floating or who haven't played as hard as others, like I don't dislike them as much as I have in the past. Like if any of them win, I would be genuinely kind of like, okay, that was cool.
Yeah, I don't really feel like I would be unhappy with anybody winning at this point.
Right. I like everybody more than I think I have in any season ever of Survivor.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. I think it's a unique characteristic so far this season.
Yeah, it's been a really good season, and kudos to
production and casting for putting together two back-to-back really good seasons. I feel like I mentioned this in a tweet recently. I think, but we had after San Juan del Sur and Worlds Apart, those seasons were kind of subpar based on as far as casting goes. But we were given Cambodia, a returnee season, and that was absolutely fantastic, and it was well placed, well timed. But then we got so we were kind of down on new player seasons because they were really bad with it. But Survivor's So Wrong, Survivor Millennials versus Gen X, they've been fantastic. And that's really what I have to say about that. They've given us two amazing casts that have several great players to choose from as far as for like potential returnees for a future season. And I'm looking forward to whatever's coming.
You're a fan of the returning seasons?
Yeah, I like the returning seasons. I like seeing, because I like seeing what they learned from their first time, and B, how players from different seasons kind of interact with each other, because two players who were on a different season, maybe who did about similarly. I want to see can they work together? Are they not going to work together? Who are they going to work with? Are they going to get along? What's their going to be their strategy to counter each other?
Okay, I kind of agree. I like that idea of returning people. What I don't like is when they have two people return from a season and then all new players or whatever, which we've seen in the past.
Yeah,
or somebody's relation or whatever.
The one returnee per tribe season.
I don't like that because that's an obvious marker for hard game.
The only thing that I really have to defend against that is that even though there's in those seasons, we've had 4 of them. Even though in those seasons, one of the returnees has always sat at Final Tribal, the returning player has only won one of those seasons. We've always had a new player win, with the exception of Boston Rob. So that's the only thing that I have to say about that. The seasons that are half returnees and half new players, those are the ones where a new player really dominates, where a returning player, pardon me, really dominates, and you can't seem to overcome them. There's two, because an entire tribe of returning players versus an entire tribe of new players, there's too much experience on the returnee tribe. They know how to play the game too well. So that's what I have to say. Any final thoughts?
We're almost there. It's almost the end. So we'll see it soon.
All right. That is we're done for the night. Yeah, no final thoughts. We're looking forward to next week's episode. Looking forward to seeing if it's actually a double elimination, and hopefully nobody gets evacuated. That would be horrible at this point in the game. I'm hoping that it's actually 2 tribal councils. Everybody have a great night. And just remember that clothing is always optional. Nudity is never required. And we're out.